show, Genge. I know that you know that I've been a Spotify girl for some time now. So today I bring you guys good news. You can now catch my video content up on Spotify. That is my podcast. Make sure to check out my profile, follow the show, and tune in for more episodes. Brought to you by GN and Co.
Is it normal to adjust a bit longer than others as a first year? Tips on how to deal with it, please.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a formula. I don't think there's an amount of time that you need to take in order to fall into place or get into something. I think your journey is your own. It has a lot to do about your upbringing, what you were exposed to before, what you know as a person. I think university is very overwhelming, obviously from the schooling perspective, but also from the fact that you're outside, all the way outside. You're dealing with people you've never dealt with before, people of a different walk from you. Just there's a lot of things that I feel like we're shielded from in high school, and especially by our parents and so forth. So yeah, I don't think that I could say that there is a specific amount of time that you should take in order to get into it. But be true to yourself, show yourself grace. I think every day you're showing up, every day you go to campus, try greet someone, try be cool, make friends in your tutorials and so forth. But there's no set amount of time.
No.
Yeah.
At all.
No, not at all.
It's also be gentle, right?
Yeah, always.
Just wing. Everyone's winging it.
Also, I think that's something that's important to note, that everyone feels the way that you do. Even if you think that they don't, everyone is hyper aware of the fact that I'm on this big campus, there's so many people, I don't have friends. It's so normal.
100%. Question number 3.
Yeah.
What would be some suggestions regarding ways to step out of your comfort zone as a person with anxiety, especially for things that are new, or going into a new journey that things that are new and going into a new journey that is beneficial to you?
Oh, read the beginning of the question.
Basically stepping out of your comfort zone, right? Okay. And going into things that maybe aren't necessarily what you're used to and they're new, so you're going to be uncomfortable a little bit.
Take the leap and fall forward.
100%.
That's all I can say. I think that there's no two ways about it. I think that if there is something you want to try, the most important thing is that you are trying and that you're putting your best foot forward. And it may feel uncomfortable at first. There's so many things that I've started off with and I was I didn't feel the best about them, but the more that you do something, the more comfortable you become, the better you become at it naturally. So if you feel like it's for you, just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
The next one.
I will.
Given the waves that you've made in your career, right? Does your calling still scare you?
Even more now.
Right?
Yeah. I said this in the episode in Joburg, but I think what's really scary, I know we speak about the fact that God has plans for you, but I actually think it's really scary to see that he really does have plans for you, because his plans for you are always going to exceed your expectations, and you normally don't see them for yourself. So last week I spoke to the fact that I started on my YouTube. That was cool. I didn't see podcasting being my thing. He brought me to podcasting. Got to podcasting, got comfortable with that. He said, cool, not only are you going to do that, but you're going to now do live podcasting.
Right.
So even as I'm sitting on the stage, I'm really sir, what's next? Where are you taking me?
Right.
So I think that I'm never really used to it. All of it is always new to me, myself and I. And every situation he puts me in, I get to learn more about myself, which is also really scary.
Right.
So more than ever, I'm more scared.
Ne?
Yeah.
And it's also you set the bar even higher and higher and higher for yourself. Because you're I could do that. I thought I couldn't, but I did.
Yeah. Also, you're setting the bar high, and who's going to outdo that? Me? No.
Who else?
Yeah. No.
Okay. What, or rather, how would you describe purpose, and how would you say one lives it out to the fullest?
I think your purpose is what you're called to do on this earth. And I think sometimes when people hear purpose, it's this really big thing. But your purpose really can just be making people happy through your content, being a kind person, being someone who's good. It can definitely be career driven. But outside of that, I think we all have different purposes. And when you just look at who you are and what your strengths are, some of the things that come naturally and easy to you can be a part of your purpose. So it isn't that it has to be this big thing, but it's this comes easy to me. I can see people, I can hear the stories, I can validate them. That can be a part of your purpose. So I can't necessarily say what it is exactly, but I know that it's whatever aligns with your soul and yourself as a person, and it doesn't feel like you're trying too hard as is. Yes, you will grow within it as you go through it. But for the most part, it has a lot to do with who you are at your core. Yeah.
Oh, love that. Okay. How do you remain consistent in your work, knowing very well that you are powerful?
I don't think I'm consistent right now, to whoever asked that question. But I think I try to be consistent in showing up. So even if my content isn't consistent, I'm consistent in the fact that when I do show up, I'm showing up as my best self. And I think the Genge gets me through so much, guys. It's like the comments, it's the Instagram DMs, it's the love that is shown to me, the love that I see in the room. It's knowing that I don't just do it for myself, but there are other people who are waiting for me to do it, to maybe know that they can do it, or who resonate with my story and see that, like, yo, I'm not alone. Yeah, right. It's the community around me more than anything.
Yeah. 100%. So I think you are consistent. I think so. Consistent.
That's questionable, but I appreciate that.
But it's like, what is consistency, right?
Friend, consistency is when I started, when I dropped every single Sunday without fail.
But now you're dropping with purpose. And that's even bigger.
Okay, yeah, no, she ate me up.
Yeah. Next one. When do you go about telling a man? Washa, I was waiting. When do you go about telling a man that you are celibate? First, second, or third date? Talking stage. When? And those E's were there, so when?
I think whenever you feel comfortable, there's nothing wrong with telling a man on the first date so that he knows, let's not waste each other's time. You're not getting nothing out of me, which is fine. But I also think that when you're comfortable, it's also something that's really personal, and I think I've really struggled to share that part of myself with people that I've seen, because you're scared of their reaction, and also normally it's followed by the question of why, and my why is very personal to me, so I don't want to just share that with anyone. I think that I normally have the conversation when I see that there is maybe some sort of relationship forming and a seriousness forming where I can now let you in on that. But whenever you want, like if you just want to cut the BS real quick, real fast, and it's during the talking stage or the first date, that's fine. But I think that's also a very personal question. It's about when you are ready to share that.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%. Because like first dates, talking about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, it's like you might scare him off. He's like, I wasn't even
there.
You know?
Next one. As a girl, do you shoot your shot? And what does that look like? Hey.
I'm the wrong person to ask. Personally, no. Personally, no, you don't. I think you can shoot your shot, like you like the story, you follow him, you make eye contact, you do those things. Yeah. But like as for hey, I want to go out, I want to do this, I personally don't believe in it, and that's why I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask. But I do want to say that there's nothing wrong in that also. If you feel like there really is an opportunity for you to get to know someone, and like, yo, you're taking forever, you're wasting my time, I also want to get the process rolling, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I believe in being courted and chased.
Ne?
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Because
because
now kichimisa, and then kichimise, and then kichimisa ban.
Yeah.
But next one. How do you block out the noise, right? To be like unblocking your potential. I think so. Basically, how do you block out the noise in order for you to sort of unlock your potential to an extent, I think?
I think the first thing is identifying what is the noise in your own life.
Sure.
Something can be noise to you and it may not be noise to me.
Right.
And I might be able to handle that. But like I believe in blocking out the noise, and I am an extremist at heart. Like I am black or white as a person, and that's not the best thing about me, but I think that I go into moments where I want absolutely nothing. I don't want to talk to a friend, I don't want to be on social media, I don't want to see anyone, because it's really just me and my time. And it may not have to be that extreme for you. So I think when you identify what the noise is, you then know that like maybe I just need to take a step back. And guys, I think social media is big noise, like big noise. And I don't think it's normal to be so invested in other people's lives when you aren't doing the most in your own. So don't be consumed by something when you know that you could be doing more in your own personal life. So identify the noise and take a break, take a step back. And you don't have to go cold turkey. It might just be limiting access, limiting you being on a certain platform or an app or anything of that sort.
Access is huge.
Big.
Because that's the noise.
That is the noise, 100%.
Because like anything that can get to you, that means you're giving it access.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, what advice would you give someone who is still looking to find their purpose, career-wise? Looking for affirmations, really, wasn't little stars.
Oh, cute.
So it's like, tell me what's I do.
Yeah, I think if you are looking for your purpose career-wise, you might have an idea of what that is. I always say, like, guys, deep down in your heart, you have some sort of inclination as to what it is you should be doing, and you may not be doing that thing out of fear. So I think it's about moving in that direction and just allowing for things to progress and unfold naturally, but also trying different things. Like, you may have a passion and you're not sure that that's your purpose, but why not try it out and see if it gives you that fulfillment that you need? I think a very big part of finding your purpose is being fulfilled in the thing that you're doing. And if you're doing something and it's not fulfilling you, it might be draining you. Therefore, I don't think it's a part of your purpose. Yeah.
And you should pick that up early.
Oh, you pick it up quick, fast, in a hurry.
It's not going to end.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
think, oh no, let me beg Gazelle. Let's see. It's not. What's not yours is not yours.
I actually think, like, Kat and I have spoken about this, that, like, we can be incredibly drained by the work that we do, but we enjoy it and we wouldn't have it any other way. So I think that that's a great indication that we feel like we're aligned with the things that we should be doing. And although we're tired and we complain at moments, but we wouldn't be doing anything else.
At all.
Yeah.
I cannot clock in.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, another one is, what was that one moment that changed how you view life? Jeez, man.
The one moment that changed how I view life. I can't think of a moment necessarily, but I think when I got older, I really started to understand that, like, life is fleeting and it's not a game. Like, when you're younger, I think our parents really shield us from a lot, and you kind of just think that things happen, you know, and like, oh, I'm above this situation or above this thing. And as you get older, you realize you're above nothing.
No.
You're not better than anyone.
No.
So just because it's met someone at a certain time doesn't mean it's not going to come for you later on in life.
100%.
So I think when I really clocked that life is about doing your best and being the best person that you can be is when things really changed for me, and that we all go through the same things. Just because you went through it doesn't mean that it's not going to find me at a later point in my life. So I can't think of a moment, but I think the older I've gotten, the more, like, morality has really settled in my mind. And the more I've realized that, like, I'm truly in charge of my destiny and the person that I am. Like, if you don't choose to be a better person, you never will be. It's active work.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't realize how much you're shielded from, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, oh,
and
my
that's what rocked me in
gosh.
varsity. Like, I was shielded in high school. Like, I didn't know life. And then I came and,
You have a newfound respect for your parents as well. You're like, oh my
Always.
gosh.
How did you guys do this?
Nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of that, what was that? What's the best advice that your mom has ever given you?
Boys are like buses. When one arrives, or when one leaves, another arrives. And she said this to me in high school, and at first I was like, oh, it's not that serious. But, like, the older you get, the more you realize that, like, if you have the opportunity of finding love, you can always find love again.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we really hold on to this, like, oh, they're never gonna love me the way Span loves me. Like, absolutely not. I think that if you have been able to find love, you can always find more love. 100%. And I know that's not like a serious thing. She said very deep things to me, but it plays at the back of my mind. And I think even outside of boys, even in opportunities, like, if this opportunity was able to find me, it means that my name is in the right spaces, the right people know of me. So naturally, I'll be able to have that sort of opportunity again.
Always.
Yeah, definitely.
Always. Also, it's like, you're so dope as a person.
Yes.
There will be someone else. There will be something else.
And in life, there's just always more love. There is always, always, always more love.
Yeah. Okay. You are clearly chosen. Lol. I know, because I am too.
Okay.
How do you navigate finding those of your descent, or better yet, how do you find your tribe?
I think it's a combination of you finding them and them finding you and not having to try too hard. Someone said something to me literally last week. They said that as a child of God, you'll find love in the most randomest of places, and that your people will always find you at your lowest. And I think that there have been moments when I thought that I would get a certain type of response from certain people and I didn't, but that response still found me through someone else. And I think it's about always having your heart be open to meeting new people. And I think sometimes we get into this whole thing that, like, this is my support structure, this is what it looks like, when there's so much more love around you. it's been really interesting to see that there are people that I've known for a long time. There's actually someone in the room that I went to varsity with, and I have not seen her since then. But she was such a rock of support for me, and we did Sutu together, and she'd take me home, and she'd help me in my tutorials. And obviously at the time, she was just someone who was being kind, so I didn't think too deeply of it. But over the years, although we have not seen each other, the way she's been able to like stand in the gap and to see me has made me realize that I've always been surrounded by that.
Yes.
My attention was on the wrong things at the wrong time. So I think you just need to open yourself up to the fact that love does exist around you. And it may not come from the people you think it's going to come from. It may not come through the form you think it's going to come from. But there is love around you in your life. So, yeah.
God always sends people.
Yeah, for sure. He always sends people. But also, like, put yourself out there. And I think that's always something that's really scary. Like, I think it's cool to come to an event like this, see someone you don't know, and be like, okay, cool, we resonate in that we like this podcast. Maybe we share the same kind of thoughts, worldview, and so forth. So let's continue the conversation. I'm not the best at putting myself out there. Don't really like it.
Terrible. I'm terrible.
Yeah, no. I'm
actually shy.
I'm working on it. I don't know if you're shy. Sorry. Oh.
Anyway, hi, gorgeous, is what it says. What motivation would you give to your 21-year-old self trying to navigate life in university, away from family, easily tempted by the pressure of friends, and most likely wants to build a relationship with God?
21-year-old Gugu. First of all, I tell her to breathe and slow down. Like, everything felt so heavy. Everything was so final. It's now or never. It's so serious. And you're 21. Like, I even think about the relationship I was in at 21. And for me to have thought that it was for marriage is bonkers.
I'm a stick beside him.
Because I'm such a different person now that I'm like, there's no ways that like I thought, you know, like at that extreme level at the time. But I would say that take a step back, breathe, and just allow for things to find you. Guys, things really do find you. And I think it has a lot to do with being your most authentic self and true to yourself. Your people, your career, your life, your journey will all come to you and it'll find you. But obviously make effort in the things that are important to you. You want to meet friends and you want a certain kind of group of friends, go to spaces where you feel like you'd find those people. You want to grow a relationship with God, seek Him through His Word, go to church, find a connect group. You want to get better at school and have friends that are going to support you academically, go to the library. Like, there are things that you can do that I think are really tangible that put you in the room where you'll find the people you're looking for.
100%. Shouldn't stay with the words, because we speak about these things all the time. You're like, I wanna, but it's like, what are you doing to
what are you doing about
that?
it? Yeah.
Last one, not a question.
Okay.
But may you please take us through your outfit?
Oh, that's so nice. Okay. Outfit check. Steve Madden. Steve Madden, the two-piece is from Levi's. This top is from Shein, back in the day. The earrings are Luvisa, and jewelry is Daniel Wellington. Yes.
Oh, they said, oh! Okay, next one. I'm currently on a journey of finding myself and finding God. I moved to Cape Town to start afresh. No family or friends. The process has been good, but lonely. No one to share good news with. As much as I can share with God, sometimes it's really lonely. Any tips on how you can handle this? Not that's making me emotional.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to not have someone to share life with. And I think it goes down to the importance of having a community. We're not supposed to do life alone. You are supposed to have friends. You're supposed to have sisters, people you can really lean on. And I think that you're in a good place because you are seeking God, and through seeking God, everything else comes. So I think, one, make your request known to Him. Guys, I let Him know. I'm looking for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Obviously, if it's not according to His plan for me, it's not going to happen. But I think just even verbalizing that makes me aware of the things that I'm hoping for and yearning for in and of myself, and it makes me more aware of it when I find it. So as much as you are trusting God, I would say, again, put yourself out there. I know it's not easy, but there are certain connect groups or spaces that align with who you are and what it is that you're looking for as a person in general. But like, journal, because journaling has been so fulfilling for me, because when I go back and I read some of the things that I wrote and I now see that I'm living them, it's such a beautiful moment. And sometimes when an answered prayer finds you, you aren't even aware it's found you. You guys know that thing of like stressing about something that it comes to pass, and then you realize like 2 weeks later, like, oh damn,
it happened,
and you forgot,
because you're on to the next now.
Yes. So I feel like writing things down really allows for me to truly be in the moment and be like, okay, I was hoping and praying for this, and this thing actually did come to pass, and now I'm in the space. But I also want to say that sometimes God does put us in a season of isolation and being alone, and it can be really hard, but it's for good reason. And when he has you in that space, it's because he's preparing you for whatever it is that he's going to bring you to. So it's not a bad thing. It's a season. Seasons come and go. Nothing is forever. So you may feel like this now, but like in a few months' time, in a few weeks' time, your story could change.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. And it will change. Trust.
No, for sure.
Hey, Sis G.U. I've been on a journey of learning and understanding what it means to have a relationship with God. And so far, it's been okay. However, early January 1st, in brackets, when my grandma was admitted, I prayed day and night for her to heal, I think. Unfortunately, I lost her on the 8th of January. I've been struggling to connect with God lately because I prayed for him to heal her and not take her.
Yeah.
Any advice on how I can move past this?
Firstly, my condolences. I don't think that's something that's easy to deal with. And two, your feelings are so valid. I actually sent a voice note to someone the other day where I was like, I'm really grateful for the things that God has done for me, but simultaneously I feel heartbroken because there are things that I had been trusting for that he has not done in the way in which I thought that he would. And death is beyond me. I don't really understand it. I don't know why he goes about it in the way in which he does, but I do know that he did hear your prayer, and he may not have answered it in the way in which you want, but I do think that I find a lot of comfort in knowing that whoever leaves me is obviously with him, and that wherever they are, it's better. But I think I don't even want to speak too much to that. I want to speak to the fact that you're allowed to tussle with God. You're allowed to pray and say, I actually have no words for you right now. You let me down. I'm a bit upset. I don't know what to say until further notice, until a time where you do have the words. And sometimes I say that your tears are your prayers. Like just crying in your room, crying with your friends. It's his ability to see your heart and see what it is that you're going through. So have patience with yourself. You don't have to jump straight into it. You don't have to be praise and worshiping right now, because that's not what you feel like. You know, so I think it's important more than anything to honor where you are at and honor your feelings and know that it's a journey. And obviously I pray that it gets better and you feel better and you feel lighter in the long run. But yeah, I think God's will is something that is forever above me, and I never truly understand it. But what's important is validating yourself in the process.
100%.
Yeah.
We also forget that our relationship with God is a relationship.
Yes.
Like any other. You get mad, you get upset.
For sure.
And you're like, I don't like you right now. I love you, but I don't like you right now.
Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
How did you manage to carry yourself through learning to have/maintain an active relationship with your sister, especially during your season of anxiety and depression?
Great question. Nosipho and I are closer now than what we've ever been before. And funny enough, like I thought we were close, but you know when you like introspect, you realize like, no, we actually weren't that close. And I think that speaks to the time where I was suffering from anxiety and depression. Nosipho once said something to me. She watched my YouTube video and came into my room and she was like, that's what you were going through. Like, I had no idea at all. And I think it's because I really shielded my parents and my family from what it was that I was going through, because I feared that they wouldn't understand it. And naturally, you know, a black family, you're talking about anxiety, depression, mental health, but you're eating, there's a roof over your head. Like, where are all of these things coming from? So, yeah, I think at that time where I was anxious and depressed, I actually did not have the strength to properly foster the relationship that I needed to do so with Nosipho. It's only now where I'm out of it where I feel like I have the time, the energy, and the capacity to do so. So I think just like any relationship in life, there may be a moment where you aren't so close, and that's because you're going through your own thing and you need the space to be able to do that. And whenever I bounce back stronger. So I think it was cool for me to now really be like, okay, cool, you're my gal.
Hey girl,
tell me what's up. Like,
what's going on?
I'm really good at listening to people. Funny enough, I suck at talking. I don't like to talk when I'm in the midst of something. So I really do take my time to deal with it, and then I can give a report back once it's passed.
You're a reflector.
Yeah. So I think that's what I had to do with Nosipho. Like, I wasn't okay, and I needed the time and space for myself. And when I was, then I could share it with her. Yeah.
So you're protecting her, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Also, like, conversation for another day. But yeah, no, definitely. I think having a younger sibling has really taught me a lot. But my main goal and focus is always to protect her. And I think at that point in her life, she was Gucci. She was in high school. Things were fun. Life was a movie. Loca. So I was never going to be like, well, I'm in varsity. And guess what, babes? Like, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, and so forth. I wanted her to be happy in that and have that moment for herself.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, those are nice questions.
It was a very nice question.
They were. Thanks, Genge.
Yeah, I think we're going to open up the floor to any more questions, if there are any.
Hi to the both of you. This is so lovely.
Hi.
So this is just like towards the God side of things. But what does your quiet time look like with the Lord? You know, I think it's very. We say these things and we assume that we're all on the same page when it comes to it. You know, so like what sort of that like. That sort of consistency in when you spend time with God, I think it looks different for people. It doesn't, there's no one way, but what is your way? Kat as well, it would be interesting hearing from you too, if that's okay.
Do you want me to start, girlfriend? Or are you finna start? No, she finna start.
Do you know what it is? I think we've spoken about this a few times, like especially earlier on in my career. My journey with God's been so different. Like I was raised in the church, very, I was Mormon. If anyone knows what Mormon is, But I think I had a very more hate relationship with God. So I didn't really understand how to speak to God. I didn't understand who God was at all. It took me stepping away completely, like atheist, science, which is crazy now, but for me to find God again. So for me, I talk to God throughout the day. Like anytime I have a question, anytime I have a burning desire, I speak to God. And I think for me, the only way I've been able to move forward in my relationship and me re-finding God came as a thing of seeing it as a relationship, right? Because I was raised in being like almighty and so not accessible, and it felt like he was so distant that I was like, I can't relate to this dude, like who's this guy? But now it's a thing of like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I am, this is what's going on, please give me answers, what's going on? So we speak like that, and obviously I do pray at night and I have my praise and worship sessions, but I think for me, my relationship and my quiet time with God comes when I'm walking on the treadmill, taking a walk, having that conversation. So yeah.
The best way for me to connect with God is through music. I love music, so it's praise and worship. And he started to do this thing with me when I was like really going through it. I would find a gospel song and like meditate on it during the week, and then I'd go to church and I'd hear it. And that was such an aha moment for me, because I was like, oh my goodness, like, you know, I'm listening to this, and what are the odds that they're going to play it in church? So it was small things like that that made me feel seen. And I think when I feel seen by him is when I know he's listening and he feels that much more real to me. So even now, I take a walk every morning and like I try do them in silence. If not, I try listen to gospel, because I just feel like that's what grounds me in him. But connecting with God is fasting for me. I think, again, because I am someone who's very extreme, when I am focused on him, it really is just me and him, and I just need a moment for that. I don't want to be distracted by anything else or have my attention elsewhere. But if I'm not fasting, it's literally just like reading the word, and when I don't have the time, it's a Bible verse of the day and saying read more and seeing what that chapter speaks of and where that verse comes from. But like Kat said, my life changed when I realized it was a relationship. Like God sometimes does seem like someone who is so far and mighty and that we have no accessibility to him. And I think when I realized that, like, just like any relationship with a partner, you have to kind of speak to them every other day, you know what I'm saying? You have to check in, you have to let them know how you're feeling. And I think that allowed for me to become okay with the language that I used with him. Again, I thought that my prayers had to be very big, very, you know, and I think it's been cool to just realize that whoever I am and whatever I am in that moment, he's accepting of that. So as long as that I'm talking to him and that I'm acknowledging him in my day, I feel connected to him. But definitely music, like praise and worship, 10 out of 10. I love a good cry in church.
Ne?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Gorgeous. I just want to ask, well, thank you for answering the last question, because that was one of my questions. Since I have an older brother, I understand how older siblings always take over the role of wanting to be the strong sibling and wanting to protect the younger sibling. So I want to ask, how has the transformation from being 21-year-old Gugu to being 26-year-old Gugu been, and also how have you been practicing kindness to yourself?
I could show more kindness to myself, and I think that's the honest truth. I'm very hard on myself, and I think that the more that is required of me, the more I expect myself to show up almost perfect in spaces such as these, especially when I'm presenting myself to people. So that's something that I'm working on. But I think I do show myself kindness in that I'm aware that all of the mistakes I've made, all of the things that I've struggled with, it's natural and it's okay, and everyone has their problems and their faults, and it's nothing to like hold against myself. I just don't know how to answer that because it is something that I'm genuinely struggling with. And sometimes when I can't do it, my family does it for me. 100%. Like my mom and my sister will literally just be like, you've done a great job, you're doing your best, and that's all that matters. Like they will regurgitate some of the things that I say on my podcast to me. And I think sometimes when people hear me speak, they think that I have it all figured out. But it's like, no guys, I will re-listen to an episode because I need to hear myself affirm myself of that thing that I was talking about. So yeah, 21 to 26-year-old Gugu, it's only 5 years, but it feels like a lifetime. Like I feel like I've changed so much, and one thing I have done is allowed myself grace in the changing of those things. To know that like 21-year-old Gugu did the best that she could. She was a crazy, crazy girl, but we needed the space to be crazy. And I'm happy that I did that and I got that all out of my system, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just, I show myself grace, but I could be kinder. Yeah.
How do you allow, or how does it feel rather to allow your little sister or a younger sibling to take the lead sometimes when you're not in the position to take it as an older sister or brother?
Yeah, brother.
ASIAS.
Yeah, you know, especially as a man, he's in Xhosa culture, so you let the younger, if you're in initiation and you're initiated, immediately you become the man. So how do you allow someone that is like a younger sibling to you to take the lead in a situation or in a relationship?
I think the simple answer is that I trust her. And I trust her process. And I trust that she's trying her best. And when I'm not able to show up, I know that she will try her absolute best, and that is more than enough. And like, I don't know, you know, sometimes you can't really see the good that is in you, but I feel like when I look at my sister, I'm like, wow, my parents did a great job. Like, if that's what she turned out like, then damn, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty decent myself. But I think it's having that conversation of like, maybe I am anxious to let you lead right now. Like, I don't have the capacity to do this thing or to lead this in me at home, and I'm needing for you to do so. Here are my anxieties regarding that, but I want you to know that whatever way you show up in is okay. I think it's also that pressure of them maybe feeling like whatever I do may not be good enough because it's not coming from you. So I think if she feels, or your sibling feels validated in the fact that like, yo, my older sibling is backing me, and I think that means the world to them. Like, if you're trusting me to do this thing and you're affirming me, then I know that me doing my best will be the best that I can do. It's not easy to relinquish control, but I think there's a lot of power in it, and you need to also learn when to delegate as an elder parent. So yeah. And Kat doesn't have any siblings.
I'm an only child.
Yeah.
Guys, it's okay. It's not sad. I was like, oh, Kat. I got friends.
Anything else?
Yeah, we got a question.
Hello, at a
over
back
here.
of the class.
We got Mr. Selby over here, guys.
Yeah.
Look at the back. Mr. Selby is asking a question.
Okay.
I just want to know, ne? I'm just going to rewind it back to when you said you were feeling depressed and had anxiety and all that stuff. Ne? I just want to know, as much as we actually are always want to be so strong, you know, tackling life, do you actually acknowledge that you being in that state was actually your weak point in life? Do you acknowledge that you having depression and being having anxiety was that point whereby you were like, this is actually my weak point currently? Yeah.
Back in the day, yes. I think that like I was very aware that this was, I would say, the worst time of my life, honestly, because that's what it felt like, because you don't really see beyond what it is that you're going through. So at the time, yes, but in retrospect now, I showed so much strength, it's incredible. So I don't actually think it was my weakest point. I think it was a time for me to demonstrate what was on the inside of me, to really help that come about and realize that I'm a fighter more than anything. But I think it's completely normal in the moment to feel like, wow, I'm at my weakest, I'm tired, there's nothing I can do. And not to dwell, but to acknowledge it. I think acknowledging things is also really important because it allows you to progress. If you don't acknowledge something, you can't work towards getting better as well, you know. But yeah, in hindsight, definitely not my weakest. one of my strongest moments, if anything. Yeah. I think there's a question here at the front of the class. Oh no, there's one at the back of the class.
After that.
We are coming to the front.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
Sorry, MC.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Ese. I don't have a question per se, but I think maybe it's a compliment or a word of gratitude. I don't think you realize how many lives you've touched on the screen by sharing your thoughts, by validating so many people around you. And I think I started watching Gugu when I was still a university student. I was doing my undergrad, and you really carried me through my uni days, you know. And I feel like as much as now I am in the working space, but there's so many things that I've learned through your channel that I apply in my everyday life. And it's so beautiful to see the relationship that you have with the friends and Nosi, and yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I also wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the support. I always say, like, whenever people talk to me or I see a comment, like, you guys are validating my experience. And for a very long time, I felt alone. So it's really cool to know that I'm not alone in the things that I've gone through. Yeah.
As an older sister, how do you handle oversharing from your younger sister?
Great question. Fantastic question. How do I handle oversharing? I try not to be my parents. Like, you know, your parents will always say, open door policy, come talk to me about anything. You tell them one thing and all of a sudden it's shaking in the house. There are times when Nosipo has shared things with me and I literally can't respond in the moment because I need to take a step back and digest and unpack for myself and then come and respond to her. Because I think the most important thing to me is that she needs to always have a place where she can feel seen and heard and have a place where she can share. And it's human to not like the things that it's human to not like the things that people sometimes share with you, but that's not her fault, you know? So, yeah, I think, like, she knows me as well, you know what I'm saying? So she tried not to tell me certain things unless I ask verbatim and I'm like, okay, let's talk about this thing now, where you at with that? But I think it's very human to need a moment in order to respond. And sometimes we'll do this thing, like, if she can't tell me over the phone, she can text me. So at least I can sit there, I can gather my thoughts, I can ponder, and then really come back to it when I'm better. But yeah, my biggest role in her life, I'd like to think, is to not judge her. Yeah, because I think it's really important for girls to really just have a space where you're not judged. You're going to make mistakes, you're not going to know the answers to certain things, and it's okay, and that's normal. Yeah.
Check. You gotta check all the time.
Good evening, everyone. As a fellow gal, us three gals who have unconventional jobs, what would you say is the best part of your job and the worst part, and how do you deal with the not so good parts of what you do?
I'm gonna let Kat start, then I'll get into my portion.
Do you know what it is? You wake up every day, you do what you love, you grow in your career. But I think because it is so unconventional, and I mean, to put us in a bracket, we are freelancers, right? I'm gonna start with the bad and then I'll go to the good. But the most frustrating thing is that you always feel like your career is not fully recognized, right? And not recognized in things like, yes, fine, we are freelancers, but we do want to buy that car. We do want to get a home. We do want to, you know, be approved for a lease. You know, it's little things like that that get so frustrating, where it's like, I don't have a single employer. Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't give you a pay slip. You know what I mean? I can give you a bank statement. Not good enough? All right, then what are we gonna do? So I think it's little things like that that get a bit frustrating. So maybe more of the logistical things and maneuvering through life. But the most incredible things for me is that, like, I actually broke down the other day. I did some self-tape, and you never get feedback as an actor. If anyone's an actor in the room, you never get feedback for your self-tapes. But I got feedback for this one self-tape. And I broke down because it's like, I'm like, I am living my childhood dream. I wake up every day, I go, I do this, and like Ukugu was saying earlier on, it's like, you're tired, you're finished, but it's like, I'm so fulfilled, man. I live a big life, and I do what I want, and I do, you know, I see my partner going to work, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But it's like I get to do what I love every single day, and I can never see myself getting tired of it. So I think that's what's really fulfilling. And also watching your dreams come true is just such a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And knowing that you made them come true.
What?
Like, it didn't just fall out of the sky onto your lap.
No.
Like, you really put in the work.
Can I say something?
For sure.
Gugu said something to me the other day. Something happened and it didn't necessarily go in the direction that I wanted it to go. And I think it happens quite often in our career. But she was like, and I felt it and I thought about it. She was like, God loves a storyline.
Oh, woo. One
Things
thing about
aren't
him,
always gonna go from A to B. God loves a little, you know that little thing when you come, you're like, so
yes,
I wanted this for so long. I felt like there were so many hurdles reaching this goal.
Yes.
God loves that.
Yeah.
You know? You gotta work for what you want. So I think there's that as well. You stay hungry, there's always a fire that's lit inside of me because, hey, you gotta go and get it, and it's you versus it's you. It's all you. Yeah.
the best part of my job and the worst part of my job is one thing, it's people. Love being able to interact and being validated through other people's stories and what it is that they share with me. Love the support. The downside of that is obviously I am someone who speaks a lot to my life and the things that I've experienced, and I think it's really hard to draw a line between like, you guys know what it is that I want for you to know, but you don't truly know me. And I think sometimes I struggle with that boundary because some of the questions that I'm asked, some of the things that people presume, some of the watching my life and thinking that you know, like that really irritates me. And when I say irritates me, it irritates me. Like I'm someone who's actually very incredibly private. So when people are prying
Don't do that.
into something that I don't want to talk about or something that feels personal, I struggle with that. But unfortunately, it comes with the job. And I'm very aware of that. So I think what I try to do is have boundaries that I implement where I'm like, if I've spoken about this, it's because I want for you guys to know about it. And if I haven't spoken about it and I haven't shared it, it's because I don't want to talk about it and I don't want to share it. And everyone's going to have to respect that. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Private girls.
Yeah.
We're out there, but we're not really out there.
For sure.
Last question.
Yes.
I think you've done a wonderful job in taking us through your journey of the old Gugu who was here in Cape Town and everything that you went through. But I'd like to know, what does the next 10 years look like for Sis G.U personally and professionally?
I'd love to not be in South Africa. I keep saying this. But I would love to travel the world, and not even in a bad way. I just think that there's a lot to see and a lot to do, and I'd like to do my work elsewhere and see how far it can get me. I do have a company right now, so I do plan on taking clients and like working with other people to continue to grow my media house. I think I want a talk show now. It's been spoken over me, but I never really saw it. So I want to do that. I want to write a book, and also when we hear books, I'm thinking like Black and Black, it's serious, you know. But I think just even like a little entry for my thoughts of that day for someone to be able to read and affirm themselves would be really beautiful. Rich, definitely. Being able to afford everything I want and being able to help everyone that's helped me also is something that's really important to me. 10 years, hopefully linyalo, like something, marriage nyana.
Something like a wedding.
But yeah, like to properly retire my parents, like to really be able to give back to them the way they've been able to give to me is a very big thing for me. Yeah. Financial liberation, like freedom, true financial liberation, and that I can afford to do what I want to do, but also really be able to help those around me. Yeah.
I love that. It's done.
Thank you, friend.
Since you said you are a reflector and often shield your tribe when you're going through something, how do you still manage to allow your people to hold space for you during that time?
Great question. I think I like to know that I'm being thought of. Like, even if I may not have the words to share it with you right now, I like the fact that you are thinking of me, that you send me a word of encouragement, that you check on me, that, yeah, like that kind of thing. I think sometimes it holds enough space for me, especially when I am in that space. Like, as much as isolation is good, but too much isolation is also not good. And I can really fall into that hole where it's like me, myself, and I in my little world. And sometimes what helps to break that is literally just a knock on my door, like, hey, girl, you good over here? Like, you good? You breathing over there? Yeah, and I think that my friends have had to learn, maybe not even in the best ways, but like through just really seeing me live through things that like, I'm just having a moment and it's a moment and I'll come back when I'm good. But yeah, prayers and thoughts, Sana, send food or something. Yeah.
A lot of what I'm realizing the more I grow up is that life is literally a lot about extending grace, right? But extending grace is not easy. And I ask particularly as someone who is trying to grow in their faith, how do you continue to extend grace in moments where you really genuinely don't feel like it, you know? When your flesh is just telling you to be stubborn, when you want to literally go back to your old ways and just feel your feels and, for lack of a better way to put it, let things flow.
For sure.
You know, so how do you continue to be graceful when you don't feel like it?
Again, I think I'm a very big believer of not speaking in the heat of the moment. I need to give myself time to feel what I'm feeling because it's also valid, you know, and I don't want to respond out of it. So maybe I'm gonna just sit on it, breathe, pray over it. Like guys, the Holy Spirit is my best friend. Like I will literally say that I'm being tried. And if you don't intervene and if you don't show me what to do here, I'm going to go off. But I think it's also reminding myself that God has shown so much grace towards me. And if he's able to repeatedly forgive me and show me grace, I should be able to also do the same towards other people. Right. But also knowing that he understands that I'm not him and that I definitely am a human being and I'm going through these things. So I think I've had moments where I failed at that and I'm not quite sure that I have completely moved past that and that I've, you know, completely been able to work through it and know that I'm not going to do that anymore. But I think it's about acknowledging your feelings and being like, I'm actually pissed right now and I really am irritated, and allowing for yourself to work through that before speaking on it. Having feelings is not a bad thing. It's how you react to them that's a problem. So that's your responsibility, that whatever reaction I give to you needs to be with grace, needs to be after some thought and some time where I've like cooled myself down. But again, a work in progress. Definitely working on that, girl. Yeah.
All right, final question over here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Genge.
Hi, Genge.
I don't know how to approach this question if I'm putting it right. But I have a younger sister and she's approaching puberty. And whenever I try to have conversations with her, she tends to step back. And the reason why I want her to have this conversation with me is because I never got to experience a one-on-one. Although, yeah, it's cool, but like at school, you just had a random a session, a session at school. So how did you approach that with your younger sister, if you did? How did you approach that, like, to let her know about the importance of hygiene and how she should treat herself during the puberty stage, and she should allow herself to just be and take time, allow herself to take time and understand what her body is going through. So how did you approach that?
So I try to be like the really cool sister, fresh off the bat with my sister. I was like, okay, Nosipo, this is live. This is what's happening. Let me spit game. And she was very shut off. She was just like, this has nothing to do with me. I don't know why you're sharing this with me. And I think it overwhelmed her. And I was in the same situation that you were in. And I realized that she only started to feel comfortable to share once I shared. It's kind of weird when you're wanting for someone to offload on you, but they feel like they don't know you as a person and your struggles. And I actually said that to my parents the other day, that like, sometimes we struggle to speak to them because in our eyes, you never had these problems, you know, like you've always been well behaved, you've always had life go a certain way for you, so therefore I don't feel comfortable sharing my struggles. So I started to share my struggles with Nosipo. I put her on my close friends also, so that she could maybe see that, like, oh, okay, like, this is life. Like, this girl is really going through things and she's sharing things, and I think the more I shared, the more comfortable she felt. And also, it's not pushing the conversation. Just because you're ready to speak doesn't mean that she is. I think it's also letting her know that, like, I'm here when you are ready. Right. I want to initiate the conversation. You're not ready to do that, but it's cool. When you're ready, I'm right here. And in the meantime, I think share, like, small things, like, okay, cool, this is what my body's going through today, this is what I'm doing, like, just like that. I think it cultivates that relationship where she now feels like, okay, cool, my sister's opening up, so I feel comfortable to do so as well. Yeah.
Hi guys, this question is for either of you. But I know you spoke a lot about love, and with regards to love, knowing that you will always be able to find love again.
Yeah.
And you also spoke a lot about your relationship with God, for example, and like the fact that you can go through different phases with God. So how do you link that back to love? Because I know earlier you were saying that like you will always be able to find love again. So how do you know when you should work through love? Because you do have love for this person versus when you should cut or shut it down. Does that make sense?
For sure.
Over to you, my dear.
I'm a ride off your wave.
Oh my gosh. That is so intense because there's no one way of knowing, right? There's no aha, like, yeah, okay, this is not. But I genuinely think the only thing you have, that's why also I think I believe in not making impulsive decisions, really. I know that I can be an impulsive person sometimes, but I've learned to step back, reflect, put my thoughts down, sit on it. Be like, okay, cool. Why am I feeling this way? What is it rooted in? Am I just having a bad little dip with this person? Or is this just not my person? Or, am I in this work environment? Is this just not for me? Or am I just feeling like unfulfilled in this time? But yeah, honestly speaking, it's something that I think I also still work through at times now, where it's like, trying to figure out what is best for me. And I think also when you are evolving as a person as well, and you're changing, and you also now are figuring things that you like and you don't like. And sometimes it so happens that you could have come into, whether it's friendships, relationships, or anything, come into these relations at a time when you were not necessarily the person that you've evolved into right now. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing you owe is honesty. And yeah, there's no one way. Life's crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that there isn't one way of knowing, but I think that when one outweighs the other.
100%.
Yeah, like I think when you are, I was going to say overextending your grace. I mean, we're supposed to, but I think that when something is really draining you and taking from you and no longer feeding into you, and that has now become the recurring pattern, then that's the place where you should walk away. And that doesn't actually mean that you don't have love for that person.
No.
It just means that you love yourself more. So I think the most important thing is always loving yourself more than any situation, because then you'll always honor and respect yourself. So yeah, people definitely deserve grace, and you definitely deserve to have conversations and keep trying. But at some point, your trying is now hurting you more 100%. So than it's doing you good. And I think when you get to that point, you're kind of just like, no. Also, again, anyone who loves you will also honor and respect you. So if I'm having a conversation, you'll listen to what it is that I'm saying, and you'll also try your best to meet me halfway or in that thing that I'm talking about. And if you don't, then also that's a reflection of the fact that you don't hold space for me the way that I hold space for you, and maybe I gotta let myself go.
100%.
I gotta go.
Let you go.
Way.
Also, I love you so enough to know that, you know what, I don't have to be here, and I shouldn't be here, and it's okay.
And I think that's one of the best things about becoming an adult, like just realizing you don't have to be in any space you don't want to be in. I think high school and primary school is very much that, like we go to the same school, we're all friends, we see each other. Like the beauty about being an adult is really being able to choose your relationships and choose the people you do this life thing with, and knowing that they choose you too.
Not out of convenience.
Yes,
because you have to daily try and make it work.
Yeah. Okay, guys, these are my closing words. Thank you so much for staying for these episodes. They're definitely still drinks and music if you guys want to catch a vibe and a good time. But I think that my last message is just to always be true to yourself and be authentic and be all that it is that God has called for you to be. I think that in allowing myself to be authentic about my story and my purpose and my journey, it has really allowed for me to grow and to get to the point at where I'm at. And there's some brands that I work with now that I never ever thought would work with me, especially because of the nature of my content. So to be able to share my story on this platform and have Spotify amplify my voice and see me, just a black girl who is really going through mental challenges, and just believe in me is absolutely everything. So keep showing up as your best self, keep being you. There are brands that will see it, that will buy into it. You don't have to be what everyone else is on Instagram. Your content doesn't have to be generic. It can be extremely just you. I was going to say extremely vibey. It can be just you. It can be vibey. It can be true to your core. And there are people who will celebrate and see that. So yeah, I also just want to thank you guys for coming again. I don't take it lightly. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your support. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. Section 9 Africa, good is Hamba Good Day. I appreciate it. I would not have been able to do this without you. And being able to do a second city, still standing by your side, means the world to me. So thank you for that. Whoop, whoop. And an extension to Leo are the Mufftown boys who are around the corner. Like, again, you guys supporting him means that you support me, and I appreciate it. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for always putting your best foot forward. Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. To the production, thank you for making me look good, sound good, the video and everything. I appreciate your time. It doesn't go unnoticed. To my performing acts, it's Andonje and D. Koala, holding it down. Amazing. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for supporting me. And to my beautiful friend, thank you for hosting. It means the world that I'm able to even do work with you. So thank you for sharing your light and your words and just your joy with everyone. You're an amazing MC. So we see you, we appreciate you, and you have lots more that you're gonna do and more that you're capable of. So yeah, thank you for your time. To my sponsors! To Spotify, babes, I love you. You guys are absolutely amazing. The Africa Podcast Network, thank you guys for this opportunity. To Ifundi as well. And to just everyone who made this possible. It makes my heart so warm. Guys, today's episodes were proudly brought to you by Spotify. Please make sure to stream both episodes of After School with your girl Sis G.U on Spotify. Yeah, but that is me. From me to you guys, all of my love. Thank you so much. Sure, Genge, I know that you know that I've been a Spotify girl for some time now. So today I bring you guys good news. You can now catch my video content up on Spotify. That is my podcast. Make sure to check out my profile, follow the show, and tune in for more episodes. To you by GN & Co.